We're incredibly grateful for your support. Before we begin today's tale, tell us, which city or country are you joining us from? We love connecting with our global audience. Now, let's dive into today's story. Chapter 1. Fractured Foundations. Liam Walker stood in his kitchen, chopping vegetables for dinner while his wife, Ava, lounged on the couch, scrolling through her phone. The steady rhythm of the knife against the cutting board filled their modest suburban home with a familiar sound that had become part of their daily routine over the past 7 years. Another promotion at work today? Ava announced without looking up from her screen. Sarah from accounting. That could have been me if I had pushed harder last quarter. Liam paused his chopping, studying his wife's expression. You're one of the most talented people in your department. Your time will come. When? Ava sat up, her perfectly manicured nails gripping her phone tighter. I've been there for 5 years, Liam. 5 years of watching others climb the ladder while I stay in the same position. You're already a team leader. A team leader? Ava scoffed. That's barely middle management. Do you know what my father said when I told him about my position last month? He laughed. Actually laughed. Liam's jaw tightened. He remembered Sterling Sr.'s condescending chuckle during their last family dinner. The man had always looked down on them, especially Liam, for not matching his definition of success. Your father's opinion doesn't define your worth? Ava. Easy for you to say. You're content being a marketing manager, forever. The words carried a sharp edge that cut through the air between them. Liam set down his knife, turning to face her fully. I'm content because I don't measure my happiness by other people's standards. That's the problem, isn't it? Ava stood up, her designer dress a stark contrast to their modest living room furniture. You lack ambition. You're satisfied with this? She gestured around their home. A 3-bedroom house in the suburbs, a 6-year-old car, and generic furniture from department stores. We built this life together, Liam reminded her, his voice carrying a warning tone that Ava missed entirely. We settled for this life, she corrected him. Remember college? We had such big dreams. You were going to start your own agency, and I was going to be a CEO before 30. Dreams change. Reality sets in. Reality? Ava laughed bitterly. Reality is what you make it, Liam. Look at Damian Hayes. He became CEO by 35 because he never settled. Liam watched her closely, noting how her eyes lit up at the mention of their CEO's name. Damian Hayes was born with a silver spoon and stepped on countless people to get where he is. At least he got somewhere, Ava muttered, turning away. The conversation died there, but something shifted in the air between them. Liam returned to his cooking, his movements more precise, controlled. He had learned control early in life, watching his mother suffer at his father's hands. The lessons of patience and observation had been carved into his soul through years of helpless witnessing. That evening, as they ate dinner in relative silence, Liam noticed the small details he had been overlooking. How Ava checked her phone every few minutes. How she had started wearing more expensive clothes to work. How she had begun working later hours over the past few weeks. I have a meeting with Damian tomorrow, Ava mentioned casually as she cleared her plate. He's considering me for the project lead position. Liam nodded, maintaining his composure despite the warning bells ringing in his head. That's great news. It would mean longer hours, she added, studying his reaction. More responsibility. Higher expectations. I'm sure you can handle it, Liam replied, his tone neutral. He caught the flash of disappointment in her eyes. Had she expected him to object? Later that night, as Ava slept beside him, Liam lay awake, his mind racing. He thought about their college days, when Ava's ambition had first attracted him. She had been different then, hungry for success but not desperate for validation. The change had been gradual, like water wearing away its stone. The next morning, Liam watched as Ava spent extra time getting ready for work. The dress she chose was new. He had never seen it before. The hemline was shorter than her usual office wear, the neckline lower. Don't wait up tonight, she called out as she left. The meeting might run late. Liam stood at the window, watching her drive away. His phone buzzed with a message from Clara Bennett, his closest friend at work. Coffee before the morning meeting? 20 minutes later, Liam sat across from Clara in the office cafe. She stirred her coffee slowly, her sharp eyes studying him. Heard about Ava's meeting with Hayes, she said without preamble. News travels fast. It does when the CEO personally requests someone's presence. Clara leaned forward. Be careful, Liam. Hayes has a reputation. I know about his reputation, Liam replied, his voice carrying an edge that made Clara raise an eyebrow. Just watch your back. And hers. The warning proved prophetic. Over the next few weeks, Liam watched as Ava transformed. The promotion to project lead came through, accompanied by a substantial raise and a new office. She started coming home later, often smelling of expensive perfume that wasn't hers. One night, as Ava showered, her phone buzzed on the kitchen counter. Liam glanced at the screen, catching a glimpse of a message from DH. Dinner was perfect. Can't wait for tomorrow's private meeting. The message disappeared as quickly as it had appeared, but it burned itself into Liam's memory. That night, he lay beside his wife, listening to her steady breathing, and felt something cold and hard form in his chest. It wasn't jealousy. Jealousy was a hot, quick emotion. This was different. This was calculating. The next morning, he called Clara. I need your help, he said simply. Finally ready to talk about it? Meet me for lunch. Away from the office, Clara chose a small diner far from their workplace. As Liam explained his suspicions, she listened without interruption, her expression growing darker. I can help you track their movements at work, she offered. I have access to the security system logs. No, Liam replied, his voice steady. I need to catch them myself. I need to see it with my own eyes. And then what? Clara asked, studying his face. Liam's smile didn't reach his eyes. Then I'll decide how to handle it. The opportunity came sooner than expected. A text meant for Damien accidentally landed on Liam's phone. Ava had mixed up their numbers in her haste. Can't stop thinking about last night. Meeting at the usual place? Liam deleted the message and waited. That evening, Ava announced she had another late meeting. Don't wait up, she said, the words now familiar and bitter. I won't, Liam replied, watching her leave. He waited 30 minutes before driving to the office. The parking lot was nearly empty, but he recognized Damien's expensive sports car, still parked in its reserved spot. Ava's car was nowhere to be seen. A quick call to Clara confirmed his suspicions. They left together in his car about an hour ago, she reported. Headed east on Madison. Liam knew where they were going. The Riverside Hotel was the most expensive in town, known for its discretion and its clientele of wealthy businessmen. He parked across the street, watching as Damien's car pulled up to the valet. Through the lobby windows, he watched as his wife laughed at something Damien said, her hand resting on his arm with casual intimacy. They disappeared into the elevator together, and Liam sat in his car, his hands gripping the steering wheel until his knuckles turned white. He didn't confront them that night. Instead, he drove home and began a plan. The cold, hard thing in his chest had grown, spreading through his veins like ice. He thought about his father, about the lessons he had learned watching that man destroy his mother's spirit piece by piece. I won't be like her, he whispered to the empty house. I won't be a victim. When Ava came home that night, her hair slightly mussed and her lipstick touched up, Liam was waiting in the kitchen. How was your meeting? He asked, his voice carefully neutral. Productive, she replied, avoiding his eyes. We made good progress on a new project. I'm sure you did, Liam murmured, watching as she hurried upstairs to shower. The next day, he began gathering evidence. Clara helped him access the security footage from the office, showing Ava and Damien's not-so-subtle encounters in the hallways. He installed tracking software on Ava's phone, recording her messages and calls. He began building a file, documenting lie, secret meeting, betrayal. Ethan, Ava's younger brother, stopped by one afternoon while Ava was working late. The young musician had always been closer to Liam than to his own sister. Something's different about Ava, Ethan said, picking at the label on his beer bottle. She's, I don't know, cold, distant. People change, Liam replied, studying his brother-in-law's worried face. Not like this. She's turning into our father. The words hung in the air between them. Sterling Sr.'s influence had shaped both his children. Ethan's rebellion against it, Ava's desperate need to prove herself. Be careful, Liam, Ethan warned as he left. When Ava wants something, she doesn't care who she hurts to get it. The warning came too late. Liam had already seen the truth of those words in action. He had watched his wife transform from the woman he loved into a stranger wearing her face. The final confirmation came during a dinner with friends. Ava's phone buzzed repeatedly throughout the meal, each message making her smile secretly at her screen. When she excused herself to take a call, Liam followed silently. "I miss you too," he heard her whisper into the phone. "Yesterday was amazing. I've never felt so alive." Liam stepped back into the shadows, his face expressionless. The cold thing in his chest pulsed with newfound purpose. He had all the evidence he needed now. The only question remaining was how to use it. That night, as Ava slept beside him, still wearing the perfume from her afternoon meeting, Liam lay awake, plotting. He thought about his father, about the way that man had dominated and destroyed. But Liam wasn't his father. He wouldn't use fists and fury. No, Liam would use something far more dangerous: patience. He would watch and wait, and when the moment was right, he would strike. Let them think him weak. Let them believe him blind. They would learn, too late, that the quiet ones were the most dangerous of all. Chapter 2: Shadows and Secrets. The executive floor of Walker and Hayes Marketing buzzed with carefully contained energy. Through the glass walls of his corner office, Damian Hayes watched as Ava Walker strode purposefully down the hallway, her heels clicking against the polished floor. She paused to check her reflection in a window, adjusting her hair. Damian smiled, remembering how she had looked the night before, her carefully maintained composure shattered in his bed. She was his newest acquisition, and perhaps his favorite. The combination of beauty and desperation made her particularly entertaining. "Come in," he called as she knocked on his door. "Mr. Hayes." She greeted him formally, mindful of the open door and curious eyes. "I have the quarterly projections you requested." "Close the door, Ava." His voice carried the casual authority of a man accustomed to being obeyed. "And please, I've told you to call me Damian when we're alone." She complied, a slight flush coloring her cheeks as she settled into the chair across from his desk. "The numbers look promising. We're up 15% from last quarter." "Excellent work," Damian murmured, his eyes traveling over her figure appreciatively. "You've proven yourself invaluable to the company." Ava preened under his attention, pushing the folder of reports aside. "I aim to please." "And you do, my dear. You certainly do." He stood, moving around the desk to stand behind her chair. His hands rested on her shoulders, fingers tracing small circles. "Dinner tonight? The usual place?" "I can't," she replied reluctantly. "Liam's brother-in-law is in town. We're supposed to have dinner with him." Damian's grip tightened slightly. "Ah, yes, the dull husband. How is he handling your increased workload?" "He doesn't suspect anything." Ava laughed softly. "He's too trusting for his own good. Always has been." "Poor fool," Damian agreed, bending to whisper in her ear. "Tomorrow night, then?" "I've booked the penthouse suite." "Yes," she breathed, leaning into his touch. "Tomorrow." Neither of them noticed Clara Bennett passing by the office, her sharp eyes taking in the scene through the glass walls. She pulled out her phone, sending a quick text to Liam. "Your suspicions were right. I'll just watch them together." He had his hands all over her. In his own office several floors below, Liam read the message with cold detachment. He had known, of course. The evidence had been mounting for weeks. But seeing it confirmed by someone else made it real in a way his own observations hadn't. He opened his laptop, pulling up the folder where he kept his growing collection of evidence. Photos from the hotel, screenshots of text messages, security camera footage from the office parking lot showing late-night meetings in Damian's car. Each piece carefully dated and organized. A knock at his door made him close the laptop quickly. "Come in." Ethan Sterling stepped into the office, looking uncomfortable in his casual clothes among the suits and ties. "Hey man, got time for lunch?" "Of course." Liam stood, grabbing his jacket. "There's a place around the corner we can talk privately." Over sandwiches in a quiet booth, Ethan fidgeted with his napkin. "Something's wrong with Ava, isn't it?" Liam studied his brother-in-law's worried face. Ethan had always been the better of the Sterling siblings, honest, kind, untainted by their father's materialistic values. "What makes you say that?" "She's different, distant, and the way she looks at you." Ethan trailed off, then forced himself to continue. It's like she's looking through you, not at you. Like you're not even there anymore. And how long have you noticed this change? Liam's voice was carefully neutral. Since the promotion, I guess. Since she started working directly with Hayes. Ethan's eyes narrowed. That guy gives me the creeps, by the way. The way he looks at women, it's like they're things, not people. You're more perceptive than your sister gives you credit for, Liam commented, taking a sip of his water. She's sleeping with him, isn't she? The question hung in the air between them. Liam set down his glass slowly, considering his response. What makes you think that? I saw them together last week. At the Riverside Hotel, Ethan's face was twisted with disgust. I was there for a gig in the bar. They didn't see me, but it was pretty obvious what was going on. Liam nodded slowly. And what do you plan to do with this information? Ethan hesitated. I don't know. She's my sister, but your family too. You don't deserve this. No, Liam agreed quietly. I don't. Are you going to confront her? A small, cold smile played at the corners of Liam's mouth. Not yet. I have plans of my own. Ethan studied him for a long moment. You're different too, you know. Harder somehow. Like there's something dangerous underneath the surface. We all have our breaking points, Ethan. Some of us just hide them better than others. Back at the office, Clara was compiling her own file on Damian Hayes. Years of working in the company had given her access to a network of disgruntled employees and buried complaints. You should see this, she told Liam, sliding a folder across his desk after hours. 3 sexual harassment complaints in the last 2 years. All quietly settled out of court. Liam flipped through the documents, his expression unchanging. And the women? Transferred to different departments or paid to leave. Clara's lips tightened. He's got a pattern. Picks ambitious women, promises them advancement, uses them, then discards them. And Ava? She's his type, eager to prove herself, desperate for validation. Clara hesitated, but she's different from the others. She's actively pursuing him, not just giving in to pressure. Liam closed the folder. I know. That evening, he sat in his home office, reviewing the security footage Clara had provided. The cameras had caught dozens of interactions between Ava and Damian. Lingering touches in the hallway, private meetings with the blinds drawn, late-night encounters in the parking garage. His phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. A friend who worked at the Riverside Hotel had spotted them again, sharing a private dinner in one of the exclusive upper-floor restaurants. Enough, Liam muttered, reaching for his keys. The restaurant was dimly lit, designed for intimacy and discretion. From his position at the bar, Liam had a clear view of their table. Ava was laughing at something Damian had said, her hand resting on his arm. The diamond wedding ring Liam had given her caught the light, a mockery of their vows. He waited until they finished their meal, watched as they headed toward the elevators together. Only then did he return home, his mind made up. When Ava returned late that night, Liam was waiting in the living room. Late meeting? He asked quietly. Yes, she replied, avoiding his eyes. The Johnson account needed attention. Funny, Liam said, his voice dangerously soft. I just spoke with Johnson. He's been in Tokyo all week. Ava froze, her hand still on her purse. I meant the Johnson portfolio. Stop lying. The words cut through the air like a blade. I saw you at the Riverside. With him. You're spying on me now? Anger replaced her initial fear. What's wrong with you? What's wrong with me? Liam's laugh was hollow. My wife is sleeping with our boss, and you're asking what's wrong with me? It's not what you think. Don't. Liam held up a hand. Don't insult my intelligence. I've seen the texts, the hotel receipts, the security footage. I know everything. You went through my phone? Ava's voice rose. You've been stalking me? Protecting my interests? Liam stood, moving closer to her. Tell me, does Damian know you're just using him? That you've done this before? Ava paled. What are you talking about? Professor Mitchell. Senior year of college. Ring any bells? How did you? I have my sources. Liam smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. You've always been ambitious, Ava. Always reaching for the next rung on the ladder. But this time, you've reached too far. Are you threatening me? She tried to sound defiant, but fear crept into her voice. Not at all. I'm just letting you know that I know. He turned away, heading for the stairs. Oh, and Ava? Don't bother lying anymore. It's beneath both of us. Chapter 3. The Public Humiliation. The annual company party was held in the grand ballroom of the Heritage Hotel. Crystal chandeliers cast a warm glow over the gathered employees, their formal wear and forced smiles creating an atmosphere of artificial cheer. Liam adjusted his tie, watching from the bar as Ava worked the room. She was wearing a new dress, black, tight, clearly chosen to catch someone's attention. Damian Hayes stood across the room, holding court among a group of executives, his eyes following her movements. Ready for this? Clara appeared at his elbow, dressed elegantly in midnight blue. More than ready? Liam took a sip of his scotch. Everything in place? Your friend in IT came through. All the security cameras are recording, including audio. They watched as Damian excused himself from his group, making his way toward Ava. The couple maintained a professional distance, but their body language betrayed their intimacy. Ladies and gentlemen, Damian's voice boomed across the room. I'd like to propose a toast to another successful year and to the talented individuals who make it possible, particularly our rising stars like Ava Walker. Glasses clinked around the room. Liam raised his own glass, his eyes never leaving the pair. The party continued, a careful dance of social obligations and corporate politics. As the evening wore on, Liam noticed Damian growing bolder, his hands lingering longer on Ava's waist, his whispers becoming more intimate. Finally, emboldened by alcohol and arrogance, Damian approached Liam at the bar. Walker, he said, his voice carrying a hint of mockery. Enjoying the party? Immensely. Liam's reply was cool, measured. Your wife certainly seems to be. Damian smirked, glancing at Ava across the room. She's quite talented. In many ways. Is that so? Oh yes. Damian leaned closer, alcohol loosening his tongue. Your pathetic marriage is over. She's my new toy and my property. She'll obey my every command, and you'll watch helplessly as I destroy your career. Before Liam could respond, Ava appeared at Damian's side, her eyes glazed with champagne and desire. Oh, honey, she purred, running her hand down Damian's arm. Forget my loser husband. Let's have a wild night after the party is over. Liam remained perfectly still, his expression unchanged. But something shifted in his eyes, a coldness, a hardness that made Ava step back instinctively. Excuse me, he said quietly, turning away from them. He pulled out his phone, sending a quick text to his contact in IT. Across the room, Clara watched the exchange with horror. She started toward them, but Liam caught her eye and shook his head slightly. This was part of the plan. Ethan, who had been invited as Ava's brother, witnessed the entire scene. The disgust on his face was evident as he watched his sister fawn over Damian. I'm sorry, he muttered to Liam as he passed. I never thought she'd stoop this low. Liam just nodded, his mind already moving to the next phase of his plan. The public humiliation was complete. They had shown their true colors in front of witnesses, their arrogance making them careless. As he left the party, he could hear Ava's laughter floating across the room, mingling with Damian's smug chuckles. Let them laugh, he thought. Let them think they've won. The night air was cool against his face as he stepped outside. His phone buzzed with a confirmation from his IT contact. Everything had been recorded, word gesture. He drove home in silence, his mind clear, his purpose set. The cold thing in his chest had grown into something massive and immovable. They thought they had humiliated him, but they had only given him the ammunition he needed. In his home office, he began organizing the evidence. The party recordings would be the cornerstone, but there was so much more. Hotel receipts, text messages, security footage, witness statements. A complete record of their betrayal. The next morning, while Ava nursed her hangover in their bed, Liam began making calls. The pieces were falling into place, the trap being set. They had underestimated him, mistaking his quiet nature for weakness. They would learn their mistake soon enough. The serpent was coiled, ready to strike, and when it did, there would be no mercy. Chapter 4. Calculated Moves. 2 weeks after the company party, Liam sat in his home gym, finishing his third set of push-ups. His muscles burned with satisfying intensity, a physical manifestation of his inner transformation. The man who had once been content with quiet evenings and simple pleasures was gone, replaced by someone harder, more focused. His phone buzzed on the mat beside him. A text from Clara, D making moves? Board meeting tomorrow. Try to push you out? Liam smiled as he typed his response. Let him try. He showered and dressed with precision, selecting a sharp charcoal suit that fit his newly toned frame. The mirror reflected a different man, one whose eyes held a calculated coldness that would have shocked his former self. At the office, he maintained his usual routine, but each interaction was now part of a larger strategy. He had begun documenting everything, building a web of evidence and allies that would eventually trap his prey. Mr. Walker? A deep voice interrupted his thoughts. Detective Miles Corbin stood in his office doorway, badge visible on his belt. Got a minute? Liam gestured to the chair across from his desk. Of course, Detective. What brings you here? Corbin settled his bulk into the chair, studying Liam with weathered eyes. Been looking into some interesting patterns at your company. Multiple harassment complaints, all buried. Suspicious financial transactions. Names keep coming up, including your wife's. Is that so? Liam's voice remained neutral. You don't seem surprised. Should I be? Corbin leaned forward. 3 years ago, my wife left me for my captain. I watched them destroy my reputation in the department, spreading lies, making me look unstable. Sound familiar? Liam met his gaze. What happened? Captain resigned suddenly. Wife moved to another state. Nobody could prove anything, but Corbin's smile was sharp. Sometimes justice works in unofficial channels. Indeed. Liam opened his drawer, pulling out a flash drive. Speaking of unofficial channels, you might find this interesting. Security footage, financial records, documented patterns of harassment. All obtained legally, of course. Corbin took the drive, tucking it into his pocket. Of course. And if this information helps build a case against certain individuals, I'm always happy to assist law enforcement. After Corbin left, Liam contacted his IT specialist. The man had been working overtime, digging through servers and encrypted files, uncovering years of corruption. Found something big, the specialist reported. Hayes has been running a scheme, falsifying contracts, skimming profits. And your wife's been helping him cover the tracks. Evidence? Emails, doctored spreadsheets, money transfers. They got sloppy, thinking nobody would look closely. Liam's phone buzzed again, this time a message from an anonymous number. His contact at the city's leading business journal was ready to receive the first leak. He drafted the email carefully, including just enough evidence to spark interest without revealing his full hand. The headline would run tomorrow. Walker and Hayes marketing under investigation. Sources reveal pattern of financial irregularities. That evening, he went to the gym again, but this time for a different kind of training. In a private room, a former military instructor was teaching him self-defense techniques. You're picking this up fast, the instructor noted, helping Liam up after a particularly effective takedown. Most people take weeks to master these moves. I'm motivated, Liam replied, immediately resuming his stance. When he returned home, Ava was waiting, her face pale. Have you seen the rumors? Someone's feeding lies to the press about Damien. Really? Liam loosened his tie. What kind of lies? Financial misconduct, harassment, corruption. It's ridiculous. Damien would never. Like he'd never sleep with a married woman? Ava flinched. That's different. We're in love. Love. Liam laughed, the sound devoid of humor. Is that what you call it when he parades you around like a trophy, then discards you like the others? What others? Ask him about Jennifer Mills, or Sarah Chun, or any of the other women he loved before moving on to fresh prey. You're lying, Ava whispered, but doubt crept into her voice. Am I? Check his private email. Password's his mother's maiden name, plus his birth year. You might find some interesting reading. He left her standing there, knowing the seed of doubt would grow. The first crack in their perfect affair had appeared. Later that night, his phone lit up with another message, this time from Ethan. Just heard from Ava. She's freaking out about some press coverage. What's going on? Liam called him immediately. Your sister made some choices. Now, she's facing consequences. She's not thinking straight, Ethan said. I tried talking to her months ago about Hayes, but she wouldn't listen. Said he was different, that he understood her in ways you never could. And what do you think? I think he's a predator, and she's so desperate for validation that she can't see it. Ethan paused. The rumors, they're not really rumors, are they? Let's just say the truth has a way of surfacing. Good, Ethan said firmly. They deserve what's coming. The next day, another headline broke. Sexual harassment allegations surface at Walker and Hayes. Multiple former employees speak out. Liam watched from his office as Damien stormed through the building, barking orders, demanding loyalty oaths from his executives. The man's perfectly tailored suit couldn't hide the sweat staining his collar. Clara appeared in his doorway. Board's calling an emergency meeting. Hayes is trying to blame everything on lower-level employees. Right on schedule, Liam murmured. Keep watching. The show's just beginning. By week's end, 3 more stories had broken. Each revelation was carefully timed, each piece of evidence tied to legitimate sources. Damien's carefully constructed image was crumbling, and he was taking Ava down with him. You need to fix this. Ava screamed at Damien during a late-night meeting that Liam's cameras caught perfectly. My parents are threatening to cut me off. The board is questioning my involvement. You promised to protect me. Keep your voice down, Damien hissed. I'll handle it. Someone's trying to destroy us, but I'll find them. Nobody crosses Damien Hayes and gets away with it. Liam watched the footage with satisfaction, remembering Damien's words at the party. Your pathetic marriage is over. She's my new toy. Well, the toy was breaking, and its owner was about to learn a harsh lesson about consequences. That night, he met Detective Corbin at a quiet bar downtown. SEC's interested, Corbin reported. Found some irregularities in Hayes' trading patterns. Insider trading, probably just the tip of the iceberg. Timing is everything, Liam replied. How long until they move? A week, maybe 2. Building a solid case. Perfect. Liam handed him another drive. Here's the next batch of evidence. Use it wisely. As he drove home, Liam reflected on his transformation. The pain of betrayal had forged him into something new, a weapon honed for a single purpose. Ava and Damien had awakened something in him, something cold and relentless that wouldn't rest until justice was served. They thought they were playing a game, but they'd never understood the rules. In their arrogance, they'd mistaken his quietness for weakness, his patience for passivity. Now they would learn the truth about the man they'd underestimated. The serpent was no longer hiding. It was striking with precision and purpose, and its venom would destroy everything they held dear. Chapter 5. The Trap Closes. Damien Hayes paced his executive office, phone pressed to his ear. I don't care what it takes. Find the leak. Someone's feeding information to the press, and I want them found. His lawyer's voice crackled through the speaker. It's not that simple. The evidence appears legitimate. Internal documents, recorded conversations, financial records. Whoever's doing this has access to restricted materials. Then check everyone. IT, finance, legal. I want them all investigated. Sir, with respect, that might make things worse. The SEC is all ready. I don't want excuses. Damien slammed his fist on his desk. I want results. As his empire crumbled around him, Liam maintained his facade of concerned colleague. He attended meetings, submitted reports, and played his role perfectly. Nobody suspected that the quiet marketing manager was orchestrating their destruction. The board splitting, Clara reported during their daily coffee meeting. Half want to force Hayes out before the scandal gets worse. The other half are still loyal, but they're wavering. And Ava, isolated. Her team's refusing to work with her. 3 clients have specifically requested she be removed from their accounts. Liam nodded, satisfaction hidden behind a mask of professional concern. How unfortunate. In the office kitchen, he overheard 2 executives discussing the latest rumors. Did you see the trading records that leaked? Hayes has been manipulating stock prices for years. Forget that. What about the harassment cases? My cousin works at the DA's office. Says they're building a criminal case. The whispers grew louder each day. Damien's supporters became scarcer, his allies fewer. The man who had once ruled the company through fear now found himself afraid. Ava wasn't faring much better. Her carefully constructed image of successful businesswoman had shattered. Colleagues who had once courted her favor now avoided her gaze. Her phone, once constantly buzzing with messages, remained silent. Liam watched it all through the cameras he had installed throughout the office. He saw Ava's increasingly desperate attempts to reach Damien, and Damien's increasingly cold responses. "I can't deal with your drama right now," Damien snapped during one recorded conversation. "I'm fighting for my life here. What about my life?" Ava's voice cracked. "My reputation is ruined. My parents are threatening to disown me. I need your help. You're on your own. I have bigger problems." The recording ended with Ava's sob. Liam saved it to his growing collection of evidence. That afternoon, he received an unexpected visitor. Margaret Hayes, Damien's mother, stood in his office doorway. "Mr. Walker, might I have a moment of your time?" Liam gestured to the chair across from his desk. "Of course, Mrs. Hayes. What can I do for you?" Margaret settled herself with aristocratic grace, but Liam noticed the tension in her shoulders, the worry lines around her eyes. "I've been following the news about my son," she began. "The allegations, they're true, aren't they? I'm not in a position to confirm or deny." "Please." She held up a hand. "I've spent years ignoring the signs, making excuses. I told myself he was just ambitious, just following his father's example." She pulled out a file from her designer bag. "But this I can't ignore." Liam accepted the file, scanning its contents. His eyes widened slightly. Evidence of earlier scandals, covered up with Hayes' family money and influence. "Why are you showing me this?" "Because you're the only one who seems to see my son for what he really is." Margaret's voice hardened. "I enabled him. I protected him. And in doing so, I helped create a monster. And now I want to make it right." She stood, straightening her spine. "Use it. Use all of it. Maybe if he faces real consequences for once, there's hope for redemption." After she left, Liam added her evidence to his collection. Another piece of the puzzle, another nail in Damien's coffin. The next day, he implemented the next phase of his plan. Anonymous emails were sent to key board members, revealing the full extent of Damien's crimes. Similar packages arrived at the SEC, the DA's office, and select media outlets. The response was immediate and devastating. Emergency board meeting called for tomorrow morning. SEC launching formal investigation. Criminal charges being considered. Damien's desperate attempts to maintain control became increasingly erratic. He threatened employees, tried to bribe investigators, and even attempted to destroy evidence, all of which Liam's cameras captured. Ava, meanwhile, had become a ghost of herself. Her designer clothes hung loose on her frame. Her makeup couldn't hide the dark circles under her eyes. She haunted the office like a specter, avoided by everyone. One evening, she appeared at Liam's office door. "Did you do this?" she whispered. "Are you behind all of it?" Liam looked up from his computer, his face a mask of innocence. "Behind what?" "Don't play dumb. The leaks, the investigations, everything that's destroying us." "Us?" Liam's voice carried a hint of steel. "There is no us anymore, Ava. You made sure of that. I made a mistake. I see that now. Damien. He's not who I thought he was." "No," Liam agreed coldly. "He's exactly who I knew he was. And you're exactly who you chose to be." Tears streaked her makeup. "What are you going to do?" "Me? Nothing. I'm just watching karma unfold." She fled his office, her sobs echoing down the hallway. Liam returned to his work, a small smile playing on his lips. The next day, the board voted to suspend Damien pending investigation. His access to company resources was revoked, his emails quarantined, his authority stripped. "This isn't over," he shouted as security escorted him from the building. "I'll destroy whoever did this." Liam watched from his window, recording the meltdown on his phone. Another piece of evidence for the growing file. That evening, he met with Detective Corbin again. "DA's ready to move," Corbin reported. "Criminal charges being prepared. Hayes won't know what hit him." "Perfect timing," Liam replied. "I have one more card to play." He pulled out a final flash drive, containing the most damaging evidence yet. Videos, emails, financial records, everything needed to ensure Damien's complete destruction. "Use this wisely," he told Corbin. The timing has to be perfect. The detective studied him with newfound respect. You planned this from the start, didn't you? The whole thing? Let's just say I believe in justice, Liam replied, even if it has to be served cold. As he drove home that night, Liam felt the satisfaction of a plan well executed. The trap had nearly closed. Soon, very soon, Ava and Damien would face the full consequences of their actions. The serpent had struck with deadly accuracy, its venom coursing through their veins, destroying everything they held dear. And the best part? They still didn't realize who was truly responsible for their downfall. Chapter 6: The Confrontation. The cabin stood isolated against the mountain backdrop, miles from the nearest neighbor. Liam had chosen it carefully. No cell service, no internet, no escape routes. The perfect stage for his final act. Inside, he checked the hidden cameras one last time. Each room was covered. Each conversation would be recorded. The evidence would be undeniable. His phone buzzed with a message from Clara. They took the bait. Both heading to the cabin now. Separate cars? Perfect, he replied. Everything ready at your end? Press release drafted. Just waiting for your signal. Liam settled into one of the rustic armchairs, a glass of scotch in his hand. The same brand Damien had been drinking the night of the party, when he gloated about stealing Ava. 2 hours later, he heard cars approaching. Through the security feed, he watched Ava arrive first, then Damien 15 minutes later. Both looking nervous, both checking over their shoulders. The door opened. Ava stepped in, designer bag clutched like a shield. Damien? Are you here? In here, Liam called out. She froze, face draining of color. Liam? What are you? Surprise. He didn't move from his chair. Don't worry, your lover will be joining us shortly. The door opened again. Damien strode in, his usual confidence faltering at the sight of Liam. What is this? Damien demanded, hand reaching for his phone. Don't bother, Liam said calmly. No signal up here. No internet either. Just us and the truth. If this is some kind of trap, Damien started. Trap? Liam raised an eyebrow. Like the trap you set for my wife? Or the trap you've set for countless other women before her? You don't know what you're talking about, Damien snarled. Liam picked up a remote, pressed a button. The cabin's TV flickered to life, showing security footage from the office. Ava and Damien in intimate moments, secret meetings, hushed conversations. I know everything, Liam said softly. Meeting lie, betrayal. You've been spying on us? Ava's voice shook. No, I've been gathering evidence. There's a difference. Liam stood, moving to the bar. Drink? It's your favorite scotch, Damien. The same one you were drinking when you called my wife your new toy. Damien's face reddened. You pathetic little man. Do you think this changes anything? I own this town. One phone call. To whom? Liam interrupted. The board that suspended you? The clients who've abandoned you? Or perhaps your mother? Margaret sends her regards, by the way. My mother? Damien's confidence cracked. What have you done? I simply showed her the truth about her son. She was quite helpful. Actually, had quite a few interesting stories to share. Ava moved toward the door. Liam's voice stopped her. Running away again, Ava? Like you ran away with your professor in college? She whirled around. How did you? No. Liam laughed. I know everything. Your past affairs, your hidden ambitions, your desperate need for validation. Did you tell Damien about Professor Mitchell? About how you helped him falsify research data in exchange for attention? Shut up, Ava screamed. Or perhaps Damien should tell you about Jennifer Mills? About how he paid her to disappear after she threatened to expose their affair? Or Sarah Chun, who mysteriously lost her job after rejecting his advances? Damien lunged forward. Liam sidestepped smoothly, his self-defense training evident in his movements. Careful, Liam warned. Everything here is being recorded. Would hate to add assault to your growing list of charges. Charges? Ava's voice trembled. What charges? Securities fraud, sexual harassment, witness intimidation. Liam ticked them off on his fingers. The SEC is particularly interested in those insider trading patterns. The DA's office is building quite a case. You're bluffing, Damien said, but sweat beaded on his forehead. Liam pulled out a stack of documents. Bank statements, email records, witness testimonies. All obtained legally, all admissible in court. Would you like to see? Ava grabbed the papers, flipping through them frantically. These are fake. They have to be fake. Like your love for each other? Liam's voice dripped with contempt. Tell me, Damien, how many times have you used the same lines on other women? The same promises of promotion, of understanding, of seeing their special qualities? Damien's facade cracked. You set us up. All of it. The leaks, the investigations, the board turning against me. I merely exposed the truth. You did the rest yourselves. Why? Ava whispered. Why not just divorce me? Because divorce would be too easy. Liam's voice hardened. You didn't just betray me, Ava. You tried to destroy me. You mocked me, humiliated me, planned to ruin my career. Now you'll understand what that feels like. He pressed another button on the remote. Screens around the room lit up, showing footage from the company party, their secret meetings, their plotted betrayals. Everything is being broadcast live to select individuals, board members, journalists, investigators. Your confessions, your threats, your true faces exposed for all to see. You can't do this. Damien roared. I already have. Liam's smile was cold. By morning, everyone will know exactly who you are. The great Damien Hayes, brought down by his own arrogance. And you, Ava, the ambitious wife who threw away everything for a man who sees her as nothing but a disposable toy. They began to turn on each other then, just as Liam had planned. You promised to protect me, Ava screamed at Damien. You're nothing but a convenient distraction, Damien spat back. Easily replaced like all the others. The others? Ava's voice broke. How many were there? Does it matter? You were just as faithless, weren't you? Using me to climb the corporate ladder, just like you used your professor. Liam watched their destruction with cold satisfaction. The trap had sprung perfectly, each player performing their part exactly as he predicted. You're trapped here until morning, he informed them calmly. When the sun rises, you'll be free to leave, but your worlds will have already crumbled. Everything you've built, everything you've stolen, will be gone. I'll destroy you for this, Damien threatened. No, Liam replied simply. You won't. You'll be too busy trying to stay out of prison. He moved to the door, pausing to look back at them. Ava crumpled on the couch, Damien pacing like a caged animal. Goodbye, Ava. Goodbye, Damien. Enjoy your last night of freedom. The door closed behind him with a final click, leaving them trapped with their lies, their betrayals, and the harsh truth of their actions. Through the cameras, he watched them break down, turn on each other, reveal their true natures in their desperation. The serpent had struck its final blow. Their destruction was complete. Chapter 7, The Reckoning. The morning news exploded with headlines. Walker and Hayes CEO caught in scandal. Explosive recording reveals pattern of abuse. Corporate corruption exposed. Hayes' family empire crumbles. Affair, fraud, and betrayal. Inside the downfall of Damien Hayes, Detective Miles Corbin sat at his desk, watching the media frenzy unfold on multiple screens. His phone hadn't stopped ringing since the recordings from the cabin went public. Reporters, investigators, and prosecutors all wanted a piece of the story. Another statement from the DA's office, his partner announced, dropping a press release on his desk. They're moving forward with criminal charges? Corbin nodded, thinking about Liam Walker. The man had orchestrated one of the most comprehensive takedowns he'd seen in 20 years of police work. Not a single detail overlooked, not a single law broken. His phone buzzed, a message from Liam. Time to move. In the corporate offices of Walker and Hayes, chaos reigned. Employees huddled around computers, watching leaked footage from the cabin. Damien Hayes' voice filled the speakers. Of course I used them. All of them. The women, the investors, the board. They were means to an end. Then Ava's voice. You promised me everything. You said we'd run the company together. You? Damien's laugh was cruel. You were just another conquest. Easier than most. So desperate for validation, you didn't even need much convincing. Clara Bennett watched the footage with grim satisfaction. She'd already received calls from 3 board members, asking her to step in as interim CEO. The The company needed stability, they said. Someone untainted by the scandal. Her phone lit up with a text from Liam. Take the position. You'll do better than they ever did. In his penthouse apartment, Damian Hayes paced frantically, phone pressed to his ear. What do you mean you can't stop it? I don't care what it costs. Make this go away. His lawyer's voice was resigned. It's over, Damian. The SEC has everything. The DA is filing charges. Your own mother has provided evidence against you. That bitch, Damian snarled. I'll destroy. A knock at his door interrupted him. Detective Corbin stood there, flanked by officers. Damian Hayes, Corbin announced, you're under arrest for securities fraud, witness tampering, and multiple counts of sexual harassment. You have the right to remain silent. Across town, Ava sat alone in her parents' guest room. Her phone buzzed constantly with messages, reporters, former colleagues, old friends, all wanting comments. Her father's words from breakfast still rang in her ears. You've destroyed our family name. Your mother can't even show her face at the club anymore. She opened her laptop, flinching at the flood of news articles. Her affair was public knowledge now, her reputation in tatters. The company had already terminated her employment. Her credentials were worthless. A notification popped up, an email from her brother Ethan. I saw the recordings. I knew Damian was using you, but I never imagined the depth of his corruption. Or yours. Liam sent me money for my music career. At least someone in this mess has a soul. Don't contact me for a while. I need time. In his office at the police station, Corbin reviewed Damian's booking photos. The man's designer suit was rumpled, his arrogant smirk replaced by fear. Quite a fall from grace, his partner commented. He had it coming, Corbin replied, thinking of his own past. They both did. The evidence Liam had gathered was overwhelming. Bank records showing years of fraud. Emails documenting harassment and cover-ups. Witness statements from former victims. And now, the cabin recordings, a confession that would seal their fate. Clara called an emergency board meeting. The directors sat around the conference table, faces grim. The company's reputation is in shambles, one said. We need damage control. No, Clara replied firmly. What we need is reform, complete transparency, new policies, a total overhaul of corporate culture. And Hayes? Former CEO Hayes is no longer our concern. The authorities have him now. Her phone buzzed. Another message from Liam. You know what needs to be done. Make it count. The media coverage was relentless. Every news channel played excerpts from the cabin recordings. Business analysts dissected Hayes' financial crimes. Social media exploded with clips of Ava and Damian's confessions. In her parents' house, Ava watched her world collapse. Her mother refused to speak to her. Her father had canceled her credit cards. Former friends blocked her numbers. She tried calling Damian's lawyer, but he hung up immediately. She was toxic now, a liability to be avoided. A package arrived. Divorce papers from Liam's attorney. Inside was a note in Liam's handwriting. You chose your path. Now walk it alone. Detective Corbin held a press conference, laying out the charges against Damian Hayes. Securities fraud, tax evasion, harassment, witness tampering. The list went on. This case represents a systematic abuse of power, he announced to the cameras. No one is above the law. Reporters shouted questions. Detective Corbin, how long has this investigation been ongoing? What role did Mrs. Walker play in the fraud? Will there be more arrests? Corbin handled them with professional detachment, but inside he felt satisfaction. His own wife's betrayal had gone unpunished, but at least this time, justice would be served. The day ended with Damian Hayes in a holding cell, his empire in ruins. Ava Walker sat alone in a borrowed room, her ambitions turned to ash. And somewhere, watching it all unfold according to his plan, Liam Walker prepared for his next move. The serpent had struck, its venom had spread, and now the world would watch its victims writhe. Chapter 8, The Aftermath. 3 months later, Clara Bennett sat in the CEO's office, her office now, reviewing the company's quarterly reports. The transition hadn't been easy, but the worst was behind them. Her phone buzzed with a message from a private number. You've done well. The company's in good hands. She smiled, recognizing Liam's style. He hadn't been seen since the scandal broke, but his influence lingered. A knock at her door interrupted her thoughts. "Ms. Bennett? Mr. Sterling is here." Ethan entered, looking more polished than she remembered. Success suited him. His first single had just hit the charts. "Any word from him?" Ethan asked, settling into a chair. "Occasional messages. He's traveling, finding himself." Clara studied the young musician. "Have you heard from Ava?" Ethan's face hardened. "She's working as a waitress in some diner outside the city. Mom and Dad cut her off completely. She tried calling me, but..." He shrugged. Some betrayals can't be forgiven. Across the city, Damian Hayes sat in his prison cell, staring at the wall. His lawyers had failed to prevent the release of Margaret's evidence. Decades of corruption, abuse, and fraud documented by his own mother. "Visitor for Hayes," the guard announced. Margaret Hayes stood on the other side of the glass, her aristocratic features set in stone. "Mother," Damian spat. "Come to gloat. I came to inform you that I'm selling the company. Everything your father built, everything you corrupted, it's being dismantled. You can't. I already have." Margaret's voice was ice. "The Hayes fortune will fund scholarships for abuse survivors. Your father's name will finally be associated with something positive." She stood, smoothing her designer suit. "Goodbye, Damian. Don't expect another visit." In a small diner on the outskirts of town, Ava Walker carried plates to hungry truckers. Her designer clothes were gone, replaced by a cheap uniform. Her manicured nails were chipped from washing dishes. "Table 6 needs coffee," her manager barked. She grabbed the pot, hands shaking slightly. 3 months ago, she'd been giving presentations in boardrooms. Now she served coffee to strangers who sometimes recognized her from the news. Her tip jar held barely enough for bus fare. Her studio apartment was a far cry from the luxury she'd known, but it was all she had left. That evening, she found a letter in her mailbox. Inside was a check, enough money to cover 3 months' rent, and a note from Ethan. "This is the last time I'll help. You chose your path, now learn to walk it. But you're still my sister, and I won't let you starve. Use it wisely." Meanwhile, in a beach town thousands of miles away, Liam sat at a cafe, laptop open. Clara's latest report showed the company thriving under her leadership. Ethan's music career was taking off. And his enemies? His phone buzzed Detective Corbin. Hayes' appeal was denied. He's serving the full sentence. Liam sent back a single word. Good. He'd received requests for interviews, book deals, movie rights. Everyone wanted to know how he'd orchestrated such a perfect takedown. But Liam had no interest in publicity. A young woman at a nearby table was reading a newspaper with Damian's prison photo on the front page. The headline read, "Hayes Securities Fraud. New victims come forward." Liam finished his coffee and closed his laptop. His work was done. Justice had been served, not through violence or illegal acts, but through careful planning and cold determination. He'd transformed himself from victim to victor, from prey to predator. The quiet marketing manager had revealed his true nature, a serpent who struck. The sun set over the ocean as Liam walked along the beach. Behind him lay the wreckage of his old life. Ahead lay something new, something undefined but full of possibility. His phone buzzed one last time, a message from Clara. The board approved the new anti-harassment policies. Your legacy will protect others. Liam smiled. Perhaps that was the best revenge of all. Chapter 9. The New Beginning. 1 year after the scandal, Liam Walker stood before a room full of corporate executives. His organization, Phoenix Rising, had become the leading consultant on workplace harassment prevention. The signs are there if you know where to look, he told his audience. The abuse of power, the manipulation, the silent victims. But more importantly, know this, no one is untouchable. Justice finds a way. After his presentation, a young woman approached him. Mr. Walker, your story, it gave me courage. I'm filing charges against my boss tomorrow. Good, Liam replied. Stand your ground. Truth is the greatest weapon. He'd received a letter from Ava last week, pages of apologies and regrets. He'd read it once, then burned it. Some chapters needed to stay closed. Clara called that evening. The Hayes Foundation's first scholarship recipients are graduating next month. Margaret wants you to speak at the ceremony. Tell her I'll think about it. Liam watched the sunset from his apartment balcony. How's the company? Stronger than ever. Your exposure of Hayes actually saved us. The reforms have made us a model for corporate governance. And Ethan? Just won his first Grammy. He thanked you in his speech. Liam smiled. At least one good thing had come from the wreckage of his marriage. Later, alone in his study, he reviewed a file, his last report on Damian Hayes. The man's appeals had failed, his sentence upheld. He spent his days in a medium-security prison, his empire dismantled, his legacy destroyed. Ava's file was thinner. After the diner, she'd found work as a receptionist. No more corner office, no more designer clothes. Her father had died without reconciling with her. She lived alone, her ambitions reduced to survival. Liam closed the files. Their story was finished. He had a new life now, a new purpose. His phone rang, another corporate whistleblower seeking advice. Another chance to turn victims into victors. Yes, he told the caller, I can help you. But understand this. Once you start down this path, there's no turning back. Justice demands completion. The caller agreed. Liam opened his laptop, ready to begin another game of serpents and prey. He was no longer the man who had been betrayed and humiliated. That man had died in a cabin in the woods, replaced by someone stronger, someone who understood that true power lay not in forgiveness, but in calculated justice. Epilogue. 10 years later. Liam Walker's office overlooked the bustling streets of Manhattan, the headquarters of Phoenix, rising now occupying the top floor of a sleek high-rise. What had started as a consulting firm for workplace harassment prevention had grown into a global organization, helping victims seek justice against powerful abusers. His phone buzzed, another message from Clara Bennett. She was retiring as CEO of Walker & Hayes Marketing, now simply called Walker Marketing after the complete restructuring. Her decade-long leadership had transformed the company into a model of corporate ethics. The board approved your candidate for my replacement, her message read. Your recommendation was perfect, as usual. Liam smiled, remembering how far they'd come. The scandal that had destroyed Damian Hayes had also cleared the way for real change. Under Clara's leadership, the company had instituted groundbreaking policies against harassment and abuse of power. His assistant interrupted his thoughts. Mr. Walker, Detective Corbin is here. Miles Corbin entered, now retired from the police force but serving as Phoenix Rising's head of investigations. The years had added gray to his hair, but his eyes remained sharp. Got an interesting case, Corbin announced, dropping a file on Liam's desk. Tech company CEO, pattern of harassment. Reminds me of Hayes. Hayes, Liam mused. Have you heard the latest? That he's up for parole? Won't matter. Margaret's testimonies ensure he'll serve his full term. Damian Hayes had spent the past decade in prison, his appeals exhausted, his fortune gone. The last photo Liam had seen showed a broken man, his arrogance replaced by defeat. He still had 12 years to serve with no friends, no allies, and no hope of rebuilding his empire. Speaking of Margaret, Corbin continued, the Hayes Foundation's doing good work. Their scholarship programs helped hundreds of abuse survivors get law degrees. Margaret Hayes had dedicated her remaining years to atoning for her son's crimes. The Hayes fortune, once used to corrupt and abuse, now funded programs helping victims seek justice. Liam's phone buzzed again, a message from Ethan Sterling. The musician had become a global sensation, his songs often tackling themes of betrayal and redemption. He'd never reconciled with Ava, but he'd found his own peace. Playing Madison Square Garden next month, Ethan's message read, Front row seats for you and Clara. Can't forget who helped me get my start. The memory of that time brought Ava to mind. His ex-wife had tried to rebuild her life with limited success. After years of menial jobs, she'd found work as an administrative assistant at a small firm. Her attempts to re-enter the corporate world had failed. The scandal had left an indelible mark. Liam had received occasional letters from her over the years, each filled with regret and apologies. He never responded. The last he'd heard, she lived alone in a modest apartment, her dreams of wealth and status long abandoned. Mr. Walker? His assistant appeared again. Your 3 o'clock is here. The whistleblower from Goldman Tech. Send her in. A young woman entered, nervous but determined. Liam recognized the look. He'd seen it countless times over the years. Another victim seeking justice against a powerful abuser. "Miss Chun," he greeted her. "Tell me your story." As she spoke, Liam thought about his own journey. The quiet marketing manager had become a force for justice, turning his personal vendetta into a mission to help others. Phoenix Rising had exposed dozens of corporate predators, each case meticulously documented, each victory adding to their reputation. His phone lit up with another message, Clara again. The company's 10th quarter results post-haze are in. Record profits, 0 harassment complaints. Your legacy lives on. Legacy. That word had taken on new meaning. The Serpent Strike hadn't just destroyed his enemies. It had cleared the way for something better. After his meeting, Liam reviewed the latest report from his investigators. They monitored former victims of Hayes' schemes, ensuring they received support and opportunities. Most had rebuilt their lives, their stories adding weight to Phoenix Rising's mission. A notification popped up, news about one of his first clients. She'd just been appointed CEO of a Fortune 500 company, her own experience with harassment making her a fierce advocate for corporate reform. Corbin reappeared in his doorway. "Lunch? I'm meeting Clara at that Italian place you like." Over pasta, the three friends reflected on their shared history. "Remember the company party?" Clara asked. "When Hayes showed his true colors?" "Hard to forget," Liam replied. "That night changed everything." "For the better," Corbin added. "Look at what we've built since then." Phoenix Rising had grown beyond their wildest expectations. They now had offices in 12 countries, their methods studied at business schools, their cases setting legal precedents. The new anti-harassment legislation passed, Clara reported. "They're calling it the Phoenix Act. Your influence reaches further than you know, Liam." After lunch, Liam had another appointment, a meeting with journalism students studying corporate ethics. They'd analyzed the Hayes case, fascinated by how one man's calculated revenge had sparked systemic change. "Mr. Walker," one student asked, "do you regret any of it? Taking down Hayes and your ex-wife so completely." "Regret?" Liam considered the question. "No. Justice isn't about forgiveness. It's about consequences. Hayes and Ava chose their path, knowing the risks. They assumed power made them untouchable. They were wrong." Later that evening, in his penthouse apartment, Liam reviewed photos from the early days. The modest suburban home he'd shared with Ava. The office where Hayes had ruled through fear. The cabin where it had all culminated. His phone buzzed, a message from Margaret Hayes. "The Foundation's new legal clinic opens next month. Will you speak at the dedication?" He texted back his agreement. Margaret had become an unlikely ally, her determination to right her son's wrongs matching his own dedication to justice. A final message came through from his investigators. They'd been monitoring a potential case, another powerful executive preying on subordinates. The evidence was mounting, the pattern clear. Liam smiled, feeling the familiar focus settle over him. Another predator about to learn that power didn't equal impunity. Another chance to prove that justice, properly directed, could shatter any fortress of privilege. His transformation from victim to avenger had evolved into something larger. The personal vendetta had become a mission, the mission of movement. Phoenix Rising stood as proof that one man's refusal to accept betrayal could catalyze real change. The next morning, he stood before his team, outlining their latest case. The room was filled with dedicated professionals, investigators, lawyers, counselors, all committed to their shared purpose. "Remember," he told them, "we're not just seeking revenge. We're changing the system that enables these abuses. Each case builds on the last. Each victory makes the next one possible." After the meeting, Clara joined him in his office. "Thinking about retirement?" "Not yet." Liam gestured to the files on his desk. "Too many predators still out there. Too many victims needing help. You've come a long way from that marketing manager seeking revenge. We all have." He looked out at the city spread below them. Hayes thought he was untouchable. His arrogance made him vulnerable. There are others like him out there, thinking their power protects them, and we'll find them, Clara assured him. One case at a time. That night, preparing for bed, Liam reflected on the decades since his revenge had played out. The quiet satisfaction of watching Hayes' empire crumble had evolved into something more meaningful, a legacy of justice and reform. His phone buzzed one last time. Ethan sharing a news article. Another corporate titan exposed. Another predator facing consequences. The message was simple. The serpent's work continues. Liam smiled. Yes, the work continued. The betrayed husband seeking revenge had become something more, a symbol, a force for change, a reminder that justice could strike from unexpected directions. The serpent had grown beyond its original purpose, its venom now serving a greater cause. And somewhere in a prison cell, Damian Hayes lived with the knowledge that his actions had created the instrument of not just his own destruction, but of his entire corrupt world. The next morning, Liam Walker would return to his office, review new cases, guide his team, and continue the mission that had grown from personal vengeance to systemic change. The quiet man who had been underestimated, betrayed, and humiliated had transformed not only himself but the world around him. And in that transformation lay the true victory, not just over Hayes and Ava, but over the system that had enabled them. The serpent's legacy lived on, its strike continuing to echo through boardrooms and courtrooms, a reminder that true power lay not in position or wealth, but in the relentless pursuit of justice. And there you have it. Another story comes to an end. What did you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy this story, consider joining our community by subscribing. It means the world to us. For more stories like this one, check out the recommended videos on screen. And I'll see you there.